welcome to the Comics Tribunal. More Avengers Disassembled. This is issue number 503, Chaos, Part 4.
This cover, I feel like, is the strongest story-wise. But my question is, what's Thor's hammer doing there? Is he going to be in this issue? Because that is... I haven't seen him yet. Spoiler, he's not. And I have no idea why his hammer's just hanging out there. How did it get there? Because no one else could pick it up.
Okay, he's dead at the moment. I'm not sure exactly how and when he died because this is pre sort of new Golden Age launch. Here's how it had to go down. Wherever he died, like the hammer fell, and then Cap brought all the other stuff there. I really need to brood over this. Let me bring all the Hawkeye's junk and the Vision's cape and Iron Man's helmet. And by the way, Iron Man's still alive. Why is he giving him the helmet? Iron Man, I need to grieve. Can I buy your helmet?
Oh, I didn't even see Iron Man's helmet in the corner.
See it?
There. Yeah.
Lower right.
Yeah.
You're like, yep. Right. Okay, Steve. Take it. I'm busy, acting drunk, even though I'm not.
I think this is just him, Captain America, just stealing everybody's stuff. He's a kleptomaniac. And this is where he hangs out, and he's so happy that he's got everybody's stuff.
It's my manifest destiny to have all this junk. Yeah, I like it. I enjoy it a lot, that cover. It's a solid one.
It's a good one. All right, this is actually one of, again, my favorite scenes of this book because there's something I liked. I bought some, they were collectible cards, like baseball cards when I was in the 90s. And I think they were all X-Men. I think maybe they were just Marvel playing cards, or not playing cards, but baseball cards. I could collect them, and there were stats on the back, which was really cool. But there was a series in there that showed the X-Men hanging out at a beach. And it was them just having a good time at the beach. And I said, these are really cool. Like, I didn't think about these characters outside of their costumes having a good time. Oh, look, we see some people hanging out outside in a pool back in happier days, back then. So I really dig seeing these guys in different settings.
The cheesecake is glorious, and the X-Men did a lot of. They always have a softball game that they do where they say no powers, and then somebody cheats, and then everybody starts using powers. Happens all the time. Avengers get way less downtime, but with when Bendis likes giving him a little downtime, and it's good. It is
feels like an Archie comic at this point.
There is a little bit of that, actually, Betty and Veronica, and the cattiness does ensue with the Wasp basically telling Wanda, making a snide little comment about her dead twin sons who actually never existed and tore her entire life apart. And she lets that one slip. I mean, look, I know the Wasp is supposed to be flighty and everything, but that one, that's brutal. That seemed out of character for her. And I know she's suitably embarrassed by it with her embarrassed anime face, which I actually do enjoy. But I mean that's the inciting incident for everything that you've seen in these comics is Wanda falling apart as Jan heartlessly, totally thoughtlessly reminds her of her dead, non-existent twin sons. It's so callous, even for Jan, to bust that one out like that. Like, I might be pregnant. Like, but it's a crazy world. Remember when you had those 2 abortions that turned out to be nothing? Like, what? Whoa, what is that? It is a horrible, horrible thing to say. And I know that this comic had to start somewhere. She had to find out somewhere. But man, I don't know. I don't know what she's having, margaritas or mojitos or whatever. But there aren't enough in the world for me to buy that Jan could be that cold to bring up her dead / non-existent twin sons.
It was pretty cold. I felt that way. And then even afterwards, it's like, nothing, never mind. Well, I gotta go. I gotta pee. Yeah, I gotta get out of here. That's what I gotta do. See ya. Like, just then leaving her to her thoughts just seemed very, very cold. Totally.
Yeah, odd. Very odd.
Totally weird. But that was the inciting incident.
And it needed it, and that's going to bring us full circle to basically everything's happened. But we can advance. There's a lot of magic blabbing, and then Wanda going on her quest to find out what happened, what's going on. I enjoy Spider-Man here as he's back with the next people talking. They're talking about Wanda, and he's saying, talking about, well, she did marry a robot. She's pretty weird, and then getting jumped on, like, why are you even here? And then his little tiny line, it's like, well, I was helping with the aliens a second ago. It's a good example of why. I mean, I like Spider-Man. He's a good character. I like Spider-Man even more in a team setting. He's so great as the comic relief. Because the character is so deep when you really know him, but seeing him in that kind of a big setting makes him way funnier. And we need more funny characters in comics, because usually there's a lot of brooding going on and flexing, and he's not the guy to do that. So I appreciated that small bend. We talked about what Bendis does well. That's something he does really well, is the comic relief.
Did it seem a little mean? Again, this just seemed like a mean thing to say. I mean, they clearly have been living with the Vision for a long time, and he's a friend and part of the team.
And he was just murdered.
Yeah, he was just murdered.
Yeah.
It would be
right.
It would be like, if R2D2 died and nobody cared. Oh wait, that kind of happened when he got shot on the do you remember?
Too soon.
Oh,
too soon.
Sorry, episode 4 stuff. Anyway, it seems really heartless. That's what I thought anyway. I was like, wow.
Yeah. You're dead right. Yeah. She married a robot too. Remember that robot who was a member of your team for the last 300, almost 500 issues, and then got ripped in half. And
clearly, in this case, yes, a robot, but okay, artificial intelligence that he meant.
He was alive.
He was alive.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, exactly.
So that
it wasn't.
That seemed. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
true.
It seems racist. That just seems racist. That's all I can say.
This is why Skynet made the move.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Terminator wise, read that, I was like, what the? Yeah.
Hey, the Beast is there too. I didn't realize he was an X-Men, or I'm sorry, an Avenger.
Yes, an Avenger for many, many, many years. He did double duty. Yeah, he's kind of an equal member, really. I mean, he's spent a ton. Obviously, founding member of X-Men, and then brought him on board. Many, many issues. Was Wonder Man's best friend, but they don't. I don't think they even look at each other or stand next to each other over the course of these panels. So, well, great. Yeah. And then they're going back and doing sort of the flashbacks, all through her history. She has a history of like Luke going nuts and going off and turning bad and that sort of thing. And I can, it's basically this is Bendis stating the case for why she's the villain here and why she did what she did, because she's unstable.
Yeah, I love these old drawings. Going back to old issues. One of the things I love about digital art and everything that they're doing digitally now is that they have a great, pristine copy of this. You can see from all this old stuff, it's like, we don't even have copies of this. Get an old comic and let's make a copy of that. You can see what's happening on the page behind it in some of these as well, which looks cool. There's a good feeling there. But man, you just lose the quality that it started with. So,
especially that second green panel that you're talking about, you're absolutely right. It has the feeling of reading the comic, way back when as it happened, which actually kind of works as a flashback for me in this.
It really does. I like that.
It's really meta, but oddly enough it works. Plus, I'm a fan of John Byrne, and that is a Byrne smile if I ever saw one. So. Yeah, I enjoy the flashback. I enjoy the art. It just feels like a little kind of over-explainy, or a little, it's stating the case in a really major way, because with this whole storyline, he had to know that there, just as you have a lot of Hawkeye fans you don't necessarily see coming, you get a lot of fans of the Scarlet Witch. There's not too many female Avengers, who are as strong as Wanda was. And, he made her into effectively a mass murderess. So he's got to state his case, because he knew in this case that he would have people coming after him, fans coming after him saying, hey, this is not fair. She's a hero. She's my favorite hero. She's my role model or whatever, and you've destroyed her. The answer has to be, yeah, I did. But here's the evidence for why she was she was crazy the whole time, and we should have seen it coming.
Was she, I guess, I don't know much about her. Was she I mean, was she bad at times and then got good?
She started out as a villain. She started out with the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, which is the most unlikely title of a group that you're really going to find when you're naming yourself. Okay, all right, Brotherhood of Evil Accountants, everybody. Like I thought, what was that? Second to last one. So eventually they shortened it up, but it was Magneto and then Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. And I think Toad was in there too, and maybe they added the Blob, who are not the most photogenic members. But eventually it was discovered that Wanda and Quicksilver were Magneto's kids, which none of them knew. But that, she started out as a big X-Men enemy and then later on joined the Avengers, recruited by Captain America, who's a really good judge of character, who's the second incarnation of the Avengers after basically everybody quit. It was Captain America recruiting a bunch of villains. He recruited Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch, and Hawkeye, who was also a villain at that time. So it was like a big redemption project. Basically, think like early version, very clean G version of Suicide Squad. That was what the Avengers became early on, like issue 14 or something. It was really early in the run that they switched it all up and brought her on board. So she has had a redemption arc and then had a lot of gone crazy later arcs.
And her hair became more relaxed as she became less evil. Is that kind of the idea? Really tight curls, and then now they're very.
She went through an evolution. That's definitely true. That's the magic.
That is,
has that effect.
That is. Yeah, she. We see her now in this black and white world. That actually, it's interesting because we talked the whole time about how everything seemed red, and that's really, that's her color. So it was. So
it's good. It's good colorizing foreshadowing. Not to jump on you, but really, in a lot of ways, it's foreshadowing early on that everything is soaked in red, which is her color. It isn't. I wasn't that crazy about it as a visual choice, just for like contrast purposes, but for the purposes of the story, it does. I have to say, in retrospect, it makes sense.
And we see her with her twins, who apparently, back in the first issue, were those creepy whispers.
Yeah, where she's like, "Oh, you're stupid. No, you're stupid." Well, which at the time was odd, but yeah, it's the twins. The last page that foreshadowed very little and made you excited about nothing. But at least you know where they came from, the imaginary twins that she created.
Even though I was the one who just brought it up, I did not get that the first 2 times I read these comics. I had no idea. I did not connect at all.
Same here.
I feel like maybe they could have had something to connect it here. Maybe we see them whispering again and there's a zoom out and it's like, oh, they're kids. But they did a pretty poor job of getting us to understand.
It didn't add very much. I get it. I get where they're trying to seal it together, but yeah. Anyway, it was nice to have Steve go back and try and work it out, and it's more imaginary fighting. She's just picking the worst, and as she has been from the beginning in the series, she's been picking the very worst things that could possibly torture the Avengers, and in this case Captain America. For the Avengers, it's Ultron and a Kree invasion and some very famous things happening there. And yeah, now back to the Red Skull, which is a good choice again with as far as the color red.
Yeah, for sure. Falling out, another big fight. I don't know. Seeing her floating is really cool. I really like that. She really just seems menacing, and the background painting is really nice too. I really dig this page and how this looks. Plus, they've got the Avengers kind of up on this peak, this angle happening. So, pretty nice. And then this. Where did the Hulk come from? Has he been there the whole time?
Invented by all this stuff is just getting totally randomly invented. There's an Ultron back there. There's all these things that pop up. She's creating the worst nightmares of the Avengers, including one of the earliest worst nightmares, the Hulk losing his mind and going off on his own team. So yeah, it's she creates Rogue. Rogue is Carol Danvers, Captain Ms. Marvel at this point. Her biggest fear, worst enemy. If you look at Spider-Man in the back left, he's fighting a whole bunch of other Spider-Men, which are maybe his own worst fear himself, dealing with his own issues.
I get it.
It's pretty cool, and man, Finch draws a really good ticked off Hulk-like character.
He does. Those teeth.
Look at those teeth.
Very
beautiful.
strong. Very strong. man, this was starting to be a little heartbreaking. They actually did spend enough time on this, where I started to feel like, oh, this really stinks. Like, she is so in a bad place that when Strange has to take her down, I cared. I did care. I think that they did build it up. Wish they would have done it with the other characters.
I agree. Yeah, her loss is more palpable because she's lost something that's, she didn't lose her life. She lost something that was more precious to her than her life, which is her children, and discovered in the end that she never had them in the first place. And it's a good fight between the two of them. And what I like, the way he finally defeated her was Agamotto, which is the Eye of Agamotto for those of the uninitiated.
That's me.
He's got this cool 70s medallion that allows him to. Basically his sole purpose is just to dispel illusion, and the illusion, like all these things that she's creating are basically illusions. But the illusion that he's working on with her, the reason that he can defeat her is that he's dispelling her own illusions. She can't. You can't fool yourself anymore. You're doing all this. This is you. Look at yourself. He's dispelling her, and I really, that's a nice touch. That's how she was defeated. It wasn't through brawn. It wasn't through, obviously there's a huge, big fight going on, but it's just, it's holding up a clear mirror to yourself and saying you cannot look away. Look directly into this. This is what you're doing. This is why you're doing it. And it just shatters her. That's the end. Of all the fight, stopping it. It works. I love that first panel. That's rad. Looks like an album cover.
It really does. I would buy that album for sure. It's beautiful.
Yes, maybe a Yes album.
Yeah,
I can't figure out what it is.
Yeah, I could see it being a Yes album. Just Strange has his own musical album. Yeah, that's really cool.
Blue Oyster Cult.
Now I wouldn't have known. Now, so this was something that you clearly knew. That was a very and they mention it here in a little bit of, but this is something that he's always had on him and that you've always known about, and maybe he doesn't use it very often, and when he does, it's a really cool. That's neat. I like that.
He usually uses it to find secret doors and stuff like that. It's like a Dungeons and Dragons kind of a move, It's like, where are my car keys? Oh, thanks, Agamotto. It's that sort of thing. And he throws up the goat horns and drives away.
There you go. Cool. Well, then she falls, caught by Captain America. Beautiful. And then, this was that woman that helped her out.
Yeah, the Agatha Harkness, who actually goes way back to Fantastic Four. Used to, she's like the baby. Well, she was like the babysitter for the Marvel Universe. She babysat Franklin Richards. She was a witch. She had powers again, tying it back to the magic thing. And maybe she hasn't been around the entire time, just animated by Wanda.
This really does draw. This guy really does draw great zombies. First of all. And this is very Psycho type of scene. You see this. It's almost exactly like the ending of Psycho. Spoiler alert, everybody. But yeah, so nice and creepy. Oh man, this I thought was cool because Magneto just floating in out of nowhere again, which is what happens.
You're big on floating.
I love the floating.
Which is actually really a nice mirror back too, because it's exactly what Wanda was doing, and the similar red color as well on him. So it's really ties it back to father and daughter, and he's in a lot of ways why she's so messed up. Period, because he's a monster. He's a fanatic, and he dragged her in to his fanatical ways and kind of just really helped to destroy her from a family father-daughter perspective. So I like that he comes to get her.
Yeah, it's pretty nice, I guess. Would you just give her over to Magneto? I mean, what's he doing at this point? I mean, he's clearly a bad guy. He's responsible for many people dying, I'm assuming.
Yeah, he's got good and bad days. But in the end, you're Captain America. The dad shows up, to help the daughter, and he says, Xavier was right. Like when he busts out Xavier was right, what are you gonna? You gotta hand her over. I mean, I guess you're like, what about those people you killed? Like now's not the time, Cap. I guess there's other heroes that would have pulled that move, but I don't know. I'll see Cap pulling that one off.
All right, well, this just got awkward. Everybody flies away, which is really what it seems like. Let's all take off at once. We're not gonna linger. Solid takeoff.
Yeah, the wordless ending, and then the flashback to the early Scarlet Witch Quicksilver days, and yeah, where was Quicksilver? As we found out in the next issue, doing some light reading the entire time. Like, whoa, what? You could have just, like a single call, you could have just popped in, and you could have read the book in about a half a second. So, but all right, fine. But I really enjoyed the reprinting of those early pages. Very cool.
I did too. It also shows just how much comics have changed. I mean, these issues, one of the reasons they might have been so confusing is that there was tons of action. Just tons of action. Whereas you look at these, and it's mostly, I mean, they were tricking kids into reading back then. And,
the devils.
Can't believe it. But, just tons of really fast, like, oh, they just got in overseas. They're talking to Mr. Stark. They're talking to Cap, all on one page, with a lot of exposition, which, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm so seeing Giant, man, it's a little non sequitur, but seeing him throw Captain America up in the air was one of my favorite parts.
Yeah, you're like a baby. Okay, I'm Captain America. Can you put me down? Appreciate the enthusiasm. And it's really funny that one of the biggest knocks on Bendis by a lot of fans is that he writes too much dialogue. But take a look at how it was. Take a look at how it was. It's nothing compared to what it was like before with all the exposition. There's word balloons absolutely everywhere. That's all that's going on. So by comparison, and Bendis has a great rejoinder to that, which I'm always a big fan of. When somebody came at him, I was on Tumblr one time, and it was just like, oh, all these word balloons, all this dialogue, da da da, and his rejoinder was, reading isn't for everyone.
Nice.
Burn, well done.
Which is why we have these videos, and we really thank you for watching them. And if you want, we've got one more issue. What's the finale? Is that what we're reviewing next? So be sure to check
finale next. Absolutely. There's no if you want at all. It is.
It is next.
Of course.
Watch the finale next. And
no reading. No reading. We'll do the reading for you.
Subscribe.
Talk about it.
Subscribe to our channel and check out our other videos. Thank you very much.